Welcome everybody. Episode 2 or 3. I'm gonna say it's 2 because we're not putting out our episode that we recorded because we fucked up all the audio as per. No. It's everybody's bad. Yeah, it's hot as balls out, so we're gonna try to have a good, candid conversation without sweating our hull off and losing track. How are we feeling? How's your morning been, Ruben?
It's been pretty productive so far. Just been getting little odds and ends done, taking care of some things that needed to get touched up and fixed. So
Some loose ends.
yes, sir. Errand running, adulting as people call it these days.
Yeah, I had Ralph out to the dog park. Honestly, probably one of the best things I've been doing for him. It's wicked to get him out there socializing with other dogs, but it's really funny to see how he reacts with the smaller dogs because he's just a little bitch. He'll run around, and then as soon as these small dogs come nipping at his legs, he fucking gets terrified and runs away. But yeah, like the community there at the just by Castle Downs there at the Grand Trunk Park there.
Ooh, good dog park.
Yeah, wicked dog park. I like how they have it cross sectioned off, so they have like a little spot for the small dogs, and then the rest of the areas for the big dogs. And they have it basically telling people like, "Yo, this is an off the leash dog park." Like,
I wouldn't really know. I've never been to that dog park because I don't have a dog.
No.
But I'm just gonna take your word for it.
Sure, thanks. All right.
But
next topic. Yeah, cool.
I'm just sorry, I can't relate to that.
Yeah, you have a cat or anything?
I don't
You
have
walk
any
your
pets.
cat?
No.
You had any pets?
At the moment, no, I do not. I used to have a gerbil back when I was a child.
Yeah.
But I don't have
Is that the
any
only
pets now.
pet you ever had?
Gerbil and a hamster, yeah. I had some rodents.
Fucking dude, that's so gross.
Not at the same time, but I had a hamster first for a few years, and after that we had a gerbil.
Bro, that's fucking nasty.
There were reasons why I didn't
Rodents
have a
are
dog or a
fucking
cat,
disgusting, man.
That's fair.
I
guess.
told one chick I was talking to, she's like, "What are your feelings on pets?" I was like, "Nothing of the reptilian sort." I was like, "No fucking snakes, no lizards, no iguanas." Like, I'm all right. And then even fish, it's like the amount of maintenance that I need for a piece of art.
The aquarium is more the art piece, whereas the fish are
Living.
an added bonus to the art piece. I mean, I think the aquarium is the much prettier thing to look at because you decorate it with like these castles and these scuba divers and these treasure chests.
Yeah, and then it all turns
and these
green.
plants, and then you have these fish that are like moving through the painting. It's like a moving picture. I mean, I'm not saying that fish are a bad pet. It's a good first pet to have if that's what you're gonna give to a child. But I just think that
Yeah, I had those Chinese fighting fish or Siamese fighting fish or whatever they're called.
okay,
The ones where you couldn't put two in the same tank because they'd kill each other,
okay,
but you could put two small tanks next to each other, and they'd just ram their heads.
and like towards it.
Yeah, crazy,
It's kind of cool.
crazy wild.
My friend used to have piranhas back in the day.
What would he have to feed those? Like
Other fish and things like that until they started eating each other. One day he came home, he had 4, and then one day he came home, he had 3, and then like a couple of weeks later he had 2, and then eventually there was just 1.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty cool actually.
Do you think he watches them like?
No, it never really happened when he was there. It'll always be. I remember one time he went out like on a Friday night, and we came back to his house at like 1:32 in the morning, and there was like 2 fish left. We were like, "What happened to the other piranha?" And then you see chunks of the one piranha that got killed just floating around in the tank, and I was like, "Well, that's delightful."
And I'm sure they weren't that. I'm sure they were pretty expensive too.
No, they weren't cheap from what I do remember.
I'm like, where would you even find? Where's your nearest piranha dealer?
Like I don't know. He had a fish guy. I
Your
guess.
piranha plug.
So, but he also had like this massive fish tank. It was probably like, I don't know, maybe the size of the wall.
In the wall?
But it wasn't in the wall. But I'm just saying, from like this corner to like the start of that bookshelf was probably how big the fish tank was.
That's fucking crazy.
So it was quite large. I mean, you need a lot of space for fish like that to be able to swim around.
Well, and a lot of times they say certain fish, they grow to the size of the tank.
True, I guess, depending on
So,
the fish that you're eating.
right. So, but they say, like, say if you have a goldfish and like you have it in a smaller tank, it's going to stay relatively small. But if you had it in like 100, 200 gallon tank, it's going to be significantly larger than the fish that's in like a 20 gallon tank or whatever the gallons are. I remember when I was young, I used to have fish because where my place was, there was like an aquatics or in how would I say it? Like they didn't only do fish, but they did like terrariums and like it was like an exotic pet spot. They ended up closing down for like probably because they just couldn't sell shit. But I got like those sucker fish. I had like a couple different other fish, and then I woke up one day and for whatever reason I had it in this like wardrobe closet thing, and the shelf that was on top. So like it was on like a good base, but I had a shelf, and the shelf fell on it in the middle of the night and just shattered everything. So I woke up and I'm like, what smells like fucking fish, man? I was like, who's cooking fish at this early in the morning? I look down and the fucking floor's soaked. There's fish everywhere. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? So I'm stepping on glass, trying to clean everything up. Like my fucking, this closet thing's just full of like, just a half broken fucking tank. It was awful. I felt so bad for those fish.
What is it like the people in our line of work and exotic pets?
It's weird.
I don't know.
Well, I had a friend that I worked with in Nova Scotia,
danger.
and she got like the naked cats, and she spent like
Hairless?
Yeah, and she had them flown from, I want to say, Montreal, and they were like 2 G's.
A fish.
No, it's a cat.
A cat.
2 G, and not only that, the amount of like enhanced like care that you had. Like she had to get insurance on them. She had to fucking like moisturize them and bathe them because their skin was so exposed. So I thought that was I was like, that's a huge undertaking for a cat, but you also don't have the cat shedding, which is great.
Yeah, I can't stand
shedding cats.
Shedding cats.
Well, that's why I'm glad I have Ralph, because Ralph is hypoallergenic. So he has like it's not like fur; it's actual like hair. So he doesn't shed, but
doesn't shed at all.
But he mats more, and it costs an arm and a leg to get his hair cut because it takes so much more to get it cut. So fuck me. He actually has this appointment coming up on the 22nd. Another thing is that the grooming appointments, there's not many people that are like good. Like if you go to the Pet Value and stuff, those guys like they easily cop out when it gets too tough. So then they'll like give your dog back half cut. You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, he was just like too unruly. You're like, yeah, but like people are gonna think that I'm a horrible dog owner if I leave right now. Like, yeah, like half minute they like nick you and they're like, all right, we gotta stop.
Yeah.
And you're like, so like half my head is okay. Like, oh, all right.
The other half, finish my haircut.
And then not only that, it's like, well, I can't get an appointment that day, so now I have to wait. Like I trimmed his neck, and now I go to the dog park and people are like, what's wrong with them? And I was like, oh, I just tried to do it myself and my clippers broke, so now we're fucked.
But can you do it yourself if you were to buy your own clippers, and would it be that hard for you to do?
I've tried a few times, but I think it's more of the process too. I think I'm not doing the full process. So like the process is that you got to bathe them, and then you got to shampoo and because then it gets all like the dirt and shit out of his hair. You comb them out, then you cut them. Where I'm just straight going in cutting them, and all the clippers are just getting broke every time.
Well, take care of your dog.
I am taking care of my dog by taking him to a fucking professional.
Fair? Okay. And
that's how that shit works, you know?
I guess that's true, you know? He just doesn't love you that much, Ralph, that he wants to do it himself.
And he just, it's just too much. It's just too much. I can't do it. I could never do pet grooming. That's too much of a mess.
Do you find that it's important for you to maintain the upkeep of Ralph's hygiene? Like getting him cut, getting his teeth looked at all the often, getting his nails cut.
I feel like a lot of stuff that you can just like tell is like off. So like he had this little nick, and I could just tell that he was like chewing at it. So I like shaved it down, and I was like, oh, it's just a little bit of dry skin. But in terms of like regular, now again, this might go against all these pet lovers, but I feel like a lot of the times it's like smooth sailing. Like he's gonna tell me when something's wrong. Like if there's something that's
He's gonna just start barking at you, or he's just gonna start talking on the.
well, he's just gonna start like chewing certain things or walking funny or like fucking.
But at that point, is it too late?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe you might be right. Like I get him regularly checked up once a year. I take him to the groomers. The groomers will point out if there was any like hot spots or like dry skin or any nicks or anything. But I could be a horrible dog owner. Who knows? I want to say, relatively speaking, I'm a pretty decent dog owner, but they're a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and especially with the type of schedule that we have and the rotating shifts, it kind of screws him up a lot, right? Going from the afternoons to days or whatever it is, or having days off or going on nights, kind of like one of those things where he's good until my shit switches, and then he's not so good. And then it takes a couple days to like work him into that, and then we're hunky dory. His ears get bad. His ears get gross, but just manage it.
Such is life.
Just life. Anyways, I don't really want to talk about my dog no more because I see him all the time.
But Ralph is part of the team.
That's right. He's actually our cheerleader.
I wouldn't go that far.
Almost could be Ralph.
Let's talk about someone that I wanted to talk about. Ryan Keeping.
Ryan
Jamie, pull us up some stats today. Where's Ryan Keeping at right now?
Yeah, as of an hour ago, it looks like they're pulling into Victoria. BC.
Victoria, yeah.
Yeah, he's $198,000.
So you go.
So almost 50,000 shy of his goal.
Yeah, he's looking for 250,000. Last time I looked, he was at 150,000. So that's crazy.
As of this morning at like 10 a.m., he was at 180. Well, actually, as of right now, he has raised $203,443.
Imagine just so his dad is the one that drives the van for him.
Okay, let's get into why this is happening in the first place. What the main reason why he's doing this run?
To raise money for Heart and Stroke
There
Foundation.
we go. And,
So he's raising money for Heart and Stroke Foundation. I think he comes from a family of runners, and this is all inspired by Terry Fox.
Yep.
So the big inspiration is Terry Fox. Can you get how many kilometers is he running a day?
says he has to run 75 kilometers a day for 99 days.
75 kilometers a day, yeah.
Which is a distance of from the whole country is 7,386 kilometers to cover.
Just shy of 74.
Just shy of 74.
Dude, I don't even think any of us combined have ran 74,000 kilometers.
Yeah, of course not. I ain't no runner. Played a lot of sports.
And not only that, what would be interesting to ask is like how many times were you like, I don't think I can do this shit no more. And then you're like, but I got 102,000 people following me. I got GoFundMe that I'm raising money for. Like if I stop now, like it's all going to be worth nothing, basically. Like again, he would have achieved something, and not only that, like what kind of like preparation would you have to do to like not get an injury, not get a like. Imagine how many people would do that. Yeah, like imagine like you're doing it, you're 10 days in, and all of a sudden you roll your fucking ankle or something. And he had like, look at the one on top there, the showbirds. He had like the showbirds fly over him and onto snowbirds fly over him, like just crazy, just a crazy amount of support that he's like getting from the country and stuff.
Well, it's the same amount of support that people were giving Terry Fox when he was doing his run as well. And I think for any kind of cause like this that's countrywide, people are going to show their support regardless of whatever it is you're trying to do, because A, it's very patriotic, B, you're trying to raise money for a better cause, and C, it's like you're going about it in a very healthy and active way that allows people to, A, hey, I'll run with you for the leg that you've got here, and I'll show my support that way, and I'll throw some money down. It's almost like that Rocky sense where it's like, Balboa's running down the street and everybody's going to go join him and just show their support and encouragement. And like we said, it's for a great cause, and it's very selfless. And he's really determined to do it. And it is a lot of work. And kudos to him, because I know if that was me who had this opportunity or this kind of challenge to run that much across the country, don't be wrong, it'd be great to see the country in that manner. But it's like, do I want to run it? No, definitely not.
But even just to be having that grueling type of schedule, maintaining the positivity, and then be able to get it behind a camera and still instill that.
I'm sure there are days he wanted to kill himself.
Or
he's like, I can't do this today. I don't want to do this today. I'm not
doing it today. Yeah, don't put me on camera today, bud. Or the days when you see it, it's pissing out raining. But then this guy can say, I ran across Canada.
Yeah.
In 99, how many people? And then you say, when this guy finishes, he's just going to tour around the world doing podcasts. People are just like, can I interview? Can I interview? Can I interview?
Not necessarily just podcasts, but the
news and just
any kind of media out.
Yeah, and people are going to want to have him be an ambassador, and that's great. And it's a good representation for Canada. It's a good representation for the heritage of Terry Fox, and how there's still some people that really hold that true, and they really want to carry on some type of Canadian heritage, right? We are super happy, super proud of you, and we are very happy that you did this, and all power to you. I'm going to be donating $50 to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, because that's all my motherfucking ass can afford, but I'm going to pay it forward, donate some money, because I think this is a person like this is one of these albatrosses. You're not going to see someone like this come out of the woodwork anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree with
that. I think this is a very rare person to actually commit 99 days consistent. And then the fulfillment, he gets there to the final lap, man, and it's this guy is just going to break down in tears.
Absolutely. Give him a follow at Ryan.keeping on Instagram. Check him out. Like we said, I think what he's doing is a great cause, very selfless. And congratulations to him for accomplishing his goal and raising as much money as he did. So congratulations, Ryan. Good work. Making us Canadians look good, making us to look really bad. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
What's the longest distance you've ever ran, Lubin? Competitive, not competitive. The longest distance I've ever ran that was actually timed was 10K.
Man, I did some cross country running when I was younger. I couldn't tell you for what specific distance it was or whatever, but I used to do some running. Was
cardio something you were comfortable with, or was cardio one of because some people they either really enjoy cardio, they put up with cardio, or they absolutely despise it?
I do cardio at the gym, or as I say, I know a lot of people who work out don't do cardio. But I'm also not doing any major physical activities like any sports or things like that. But that being said, when I was younger playing sports, did I enjoy the aspect of running? No, because when I was doing it, was all short distances. I was playing football or soccer or rugby or things like that. So running was one thing, but not for long distance coverage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I used to get really bad nausea. So when I was playing soccer, anytime I would push myself, it'd be there was no workup. It was as soon as I reached that it was okay, I gotta throw up.
Steaming Willie Beeman.
It was I can't go too hard, or I can't do this because I'm just gonna fucking throw my guts
out.
Man.
When I stepped on the field or the pitch or for whatever sport it was we're going 110. We gotta
booking it.
We gotta give it everything we've got. Because hey, if it's a game, it's we gotta win. And not that no one likes losing, so we had to be the best that we could be on the field. So You
Oh,
just got to
and
do everything you can.
that's probably why I didn't see the field too often, kids.
You gotta show determination.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. If you want to be a starter, you got to work your butt off.
And throw up sometimes.
Sometimes you got to throw up. It happens.
Moving into the sports world, you never really told me what kind of like sports are your main sports.
We did talk about this.
Did we?
Yep, sure did.
Okay, well, let's talk about it again, because I
Okay.
forget.
Main ones I played were like baseball, soccer, football.
No, I just mean watch.
Watching everything basically. Like I watch. Obviously, the Euro Cup's on right now. Copa America's on right now. I've been watching a lot of that. I watch baseball, football, hockey. If we're the one I don't really follow or pay attention to the most is basketball.
What a shame.
I guess so.
What a shame.
'Cause I know that's where we're going right now. Pardon?
Lots of drama.
In the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah, always, baby, always.
It's like a bad soap opera. Oh, sorry. It's like a good soap opera.
It could be worse.
I guess it could be. You're right.
It's
yeah.
one of those. It's one of those things too, where you see that the league has given a lot of power to a lot of players. Like, is there many other sports? Like, I compare LeBron James to like a Ronaldo or a Messi, where like if he wanted to, like he could get people removed and shit like that. But in soccer, I don't think, like I still don't think the players have that much influence. Where you look at someone like LeBron and he knows like the head office and like he's kind of getting coaches fired. Like apparently it was like his time in the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra was like the only coach that he couldn't get fired.
Okay.
So it's just very interesting to see how like a player has that much influence. And then going into like Bronny James, you say this guy gets drafted 55th pick in the second round. And interesting that they did it over 2 days. I thought that was pretty cool. But then I'm sure nobody tuned into the second day because who gives a shit about the second round? So he got drafted 55th pick in the second round, sells out jerseys. He breaks the jersey selling record that his dad had. But you're like, has any 55th pick overall in the second round sold out jerseys or sold jerseys at all?
Probably not in basketball.
And apparently during the draft, they said that they were kind of threatening other teams that like if you draft him, we're just going to send him to Europe. So don't bother drafting him because like he'll just go to Europe. So if he doesn't go to the Lakers, he ain't playing on any team. But now apparently they're saying that he's going to play most of his time in the G League. So that's also pretty interesting. But there's this big kind of argument right now where it's how much does this diminish the level of work that it takes, or does this kind of put a shadow on the people that worked really hard to get number one pick? Like, who was the number one pick in the draft? I don't even know. Couldn't even tell you, right? And this guy probably worked his ass off. He's probably putting up buckets in the summer league, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody's talking about this guy, right? So you go, it's kind of a shame in that sense that this guy's not getting the credit that he deserves because he's overshadowed by LeBron James' kid who went out in the first game, put up 2 points. 2 points, 2 assists, a rebound, and a steal. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was.
The steal was nice, though.
The steal was great,
Yeah.
but 2 points, dog.
What do you want this guy to do?
Wants him to be the next LeBron James.
Well, I want him to act like he just sold out friggin' made
Yeah,
the
but at the same
record-breaking
time,
jersey sales.
it's his first game. He still has to find his rhythm. He still has to prove himself. Yes.
Dude, think about the pressure. Think about
He
the
also
pressure.
did have a heart attack. This is true. I mean, he's got some things he's got to figure out, and not everyone can make that step immediately into the next realm or the next league when you come in. It's not always that easy. It's not always as easy as you think. And the defensive players or the guys you're going to be playing against are going to play you a lot harder than they're going to play Joe Blow, who was drafted in the second round. You know what I mean?
Well, and think about the chirps. My God, can we get some mic'd up on Dylan Brooks? What?
Mic him up.
Mic him up. Get him with,
Trash talk him.
yeah, Dylan Brooks. Who else? Patrick Beverly. And you know the chirp's going to be, only reason you here, boy, is because you're dad. Like,
well, absolutely.
it's
I
going
mean,
to be crazy.
that's what a lot of people are going to say to him.
It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited to see this season. But he's probably only going to play like 2 games. And it's like this is what I see. I see for the development of the game, for the love of the game, and like just to let it happen and be like the first time a father-son duo plays on the court. They're going to allow that to happen. And then they're going to be like, okay, now it's going to be solely based on like what you're doing, right? Like we're going to allow you to play with your father for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. And then we're going to solely base what we do with you off your performance, right? I know in his first game he was like 2 for 9, which I don't know. It's really not that bad as like a rookie in his first game being LeBron James' son, but I don't know. What are some big trades that happened? DeMar DeRozan, Sacramento. That was freaking.
That's big for your second.
Well, that's a wild one, man. And then not only that, you look at Philly. Philly's looking hot right now.
Yeah.
Philly's looking hot right now with Paul George. They signed Tyrese Maxey. They signed him to. Yeah.
Do these games really matter for this shape of like what's the?
No, these guys won't even show up in preseason.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Embiid will probably get hurt again. Paul George, that dude's being a band-aid this entire.
Yeah, that's
well, that's the thing is like they're kind of signing a lot of injury-prone players, but that also like is Kawhi gonna go anywhere? Kawhi's gonna stay.
Yeah.
And then you have Harden. Harden agreed to an extension, I think.
They didn't want to give Paul George this 4 team.
Right.
It's like 3 years, 4 years.
What's the difference?
You're still paying this dude like $50 million.
Yeah.
I think the biggest sleeper trade was DeRozan to Sacramento. I think that's going to be a big push, getting them back to the playoffs. Too bad they fired the coach, Bruce Brown. It was like he gets coach of the year and gets fired. So is coach of the year a curse? Bruce Brown. He got fired the year after. Mike Brown, sorry. Mike Brown. He got coach of the year when he brought Sacramento to the playoffs.
He's still their coach.
I thought he got fired. Check it out.
I'm looking it up.
Look it up. I might be wrong. I thought they fired them over
Who's coach?
Bruce Brown. Mike Brown. Fuck.
Mike Brown. That's why I'm here. Yeah, still their coach.
Okay, I'm sorry, kids. Because I was thinking back in Toronto when they, what's his name? Casey.
Yeah, Dwayne Casey.
Dwayne Casey. He has like a record-breaking season with Toronto, and then they fire him. They sign Kawhi, and they win a championship. You know that guy's throwing his hand through fucking walls.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the thing with like the NBA, man. Like, you can't fire all the players.
No.
40, 50, $60 million a year.
It would
And
just
you can't
be
ship that player out.
no, but it would just be one of those things where even with you look at DeRozan and they like traded him for Kawhi Leonard, and you look and you say, I was an integral part of getting them there. I just wasn't there to see it. So it's like, how much is it of like happy to see that team that you played with get a championship, and how much are you kind of bitter because you're like, well, if I stayed, would I have won them a chip?
Well, that's the same thing with Milwaukee. They had Coach Bud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gets him the title, beat Phoenix Suns, and then next thing you know, he's getting fired like this season later.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. It's interesting, and it's really
like you said, player empowerment. It's pretty.
But that's always the part of every team is figuring out the puzzle pieces that are going to make.
well. And you look at, and that goes without saying that like they have Jaylen Brown, who's the president of the NBA Players Association, who is a legit genius.
Yeah, it's pretty smart.
That guy's a legit genius. This guy's very, very, very smart. So I think that's also a huge factor where you have a legit genius running your union. So how much of that plays into what type of like contracts they're getting, what type of, so is it like all these players are taking advantage and like the players shouldn't have it? It's like,
But I think it's also being given the opportunity to make those decisions and being given the opportunity to allow your decisions to come to fruition. It's going to happen next.
Well, I think the two biggest things that kind of swayed the power dynamics for the NBA was Black Lives Matter and COVID because of the bubble. I think because of the negotiations, because of the amount of players that were leveraging the riots and stuff like that to not play, the protesting, how much say or how much criticism that they got for going into the Orlando bubble and them saying how much it affected their mental health. I think the NBA almost like kind of gave in, and it showed that they like showed a chink in their armor, and then on the player side they kind of took advantage of that and kind of said, well, because of all this, because we had to do the bubble, like you follow us. And I think that's where kind of the power dynamic shifted, because I think before that it was pretty steady. And then, yeah, what do you think of this idea? And it's starting to come out in soccer where they're signing players on these like super sweetheart deals, but they're giving them the opportunity to open up a franchise after they retire. I think that's a very interesting concept as well, where like they're giving players in MLS, like he's getting splits on the Adidas merchandise, he's getting splits on Apple TV, he's getting splits on MLS. Yeah. So he's getting all these like payoffs, and I think he's taking less of a monetary amount, but what he's going to get on the other end is going to be massive, right? So it's kind of like he's holding out. And it took every team in the league to agree to like give a portion of like every team in the MLS had to pay to have Messi come to the MLS. And on top of that, he refused to play on artificial turf. So every stadium in the US had to revamp their stadiums to have real grass.
Yeah, I find that crazy because like almost every player in the NFL was like, yo, we won't play on the real grass.
And then they were like, no.
And then they're like, no, like, it's too,
it
costs too much.
And then Messi comes and he's like, I ain't playing on artificial grass. Yeah. It's crazy what you see with it's crazy what you see with that, because you just say like the amount of influence this guy has on a player, like on a league and stuff. But I would say the equivalent to like David Beckham. I'm sure David Beckham made the same type of waves. It might have just been like in a smaller amount, or we just didn't have the access to that news. The amount of journalism.
Access to that.
Yeah. Well, like MLS wasn't that big, right? No. So like the amount of journalism, the amount of like sports journalism, like how many people were going to press conferences, where it's like now that the league's a little bigger, they've had some expansions, they've done this, that now it's a sport that people actually want to follow, right? So I think it wasn't necessarily like Beckham didn't get a similar type of deal. It's just like nobody really had the numbers to it, right? And now he owns Miami CF Miami. But they're going to like, dude, it's going to be really, really, really cool. Like right now they're talking about seeing if they can sign Ronaldo. And they're going to try to get Ronaldo and Messi on the same team. I think it's a crock of shit. I don't think it's going to happen because
they just want the numbers.
Well, imagine what the ticket sales would be. So like Messi was supposed to play in Vancouver against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Yeah. People bought tickets, $600 a ticket. And they just came out and said that he won't be traveling to Vancouver and he won't be playing any Canadian games.
Which is bullshit.
So then you just say like...
Was there a reason provided or no?
I can't remember. I don't think there was.
No, there wasn't really a reason. It was just like depending on his schedule and like what games he was going to play and not play. Because like he'll go out and play games and then they're like, okay, we'll rest you. And like nobody says anything because they're like at any time he can just be like, all right, cool, I'm retiring. Or he just says, I'm retiring. Yeah. It's just like Gronk. Like I remember when Gronk, they said they were trading him to whatever. Detroit, and he just told them, oh, you can't trade me because I'm retiring. Yeah. So then the trade didn't go through and they were like, well, you said you were retiring. He's like, I'm not retiring. And then it was too late to trade him. Yeah. So it's like, that's crazy. Like, and there's crazy,
true,
yeah.
Especially in a sport like football, yeah, like one's kind of one of the bigger names. However, it's like there's a sense of player empowerment, across all leagues, all sports.
But then you say, is there a sense too of like once you're that big or you have that many people looking to watch you play, do you think there's almost one of the, like, you look at like the Kobe Bryant mentality, where it's like people have like paid their life savings to come see me. Like, I'll be damned if I don't go. Or like, I'm playing against Vince Carter and like my shoulder's busted up, but I know what the headlines are going to say if I don't show up tonight. So like, I'll be damned if I don't show up and play, because like people are paying to see this rivalry.
And that's the thing that bothers me the most about Messi is, like, there's how many teams in Canada? Like 3?
You have Montreal FC, you have Toronto FC,
and you have
Vancouver FC, you have
that's it. Canada.
Everything else is like
in the States.
Everything else is under the Canadian Premier League, but that's like second division.
But I'm just saying.
But
like,
for MLS,
those are the 3 teams, and he's probably going to play those teams how many times in the season? You're going to tell me you're not going to
once or twice.
You're not going to step foot in Canada to see how many of these fans see you play.
And then it goes down to a deeper: is it a visa issue? Is it the fact that like he's not going to get the same type of security? Is it the fact that he's not in the same type of...
I don't think that's the case. I mean, look at Kawhi when he came to Toronto, man. They were following this guy from the plane like it was O.J. Simpson.
Dude, that was...
Highway, you know what I mean?
That was one of the craziest... I think that was one of the craziest trade buzzes.
That was the one year that I watched the most basketball I've ever watched since Jordan was playing for the Bulls back in the day.
I could not believe, like, they were taking photos of this guy and they were like, oh... like the MSG plane. Yeah, and they were saying like, oh, he's meeting with these people, and like it was like to the hour. And,
yeah.
Oh, and then you had people like, oh, we're gonna like give you free food for the year, and then this guy offered up his like $10 million penthouse. Like, you can live in my penthouse for free if you sign with Toronto. Like, people were willing to like buy houses for him. Crazy, man. Like that Nav guy, he's like the Raptors super fan. He's had behind door meetings with them. And it's like, what type of influence does the guy with 3 car dealerships have anything to do?
He's in the NBA Hall of Fame, dude.
Dude, what?
That drives me absolutely mental. And I was having this conversation with family and friends before, and I'm like, how does a super fan... Like, don't get me wrong, he does a lot for the city of Toronto. Money talks, but it's like, I get that.
He does it for a good cause.
He does it for a good cause, which is fine. But you never played a minute on the court. You don't play on any teams. You never draft by any teams. There's no reason you should be involved in the NBA Hall of Fame whatsoever.
Probably one of the easiest things to get in.
So we can get into the NBA Hall of Fame.
Springfield.
Like the NFL, like you got dudes that were like Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're still not.
Same thing with Cooperstown. Same thing with the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's like you have to be a significant player, a contribution to the game, to actually play the game in order for you to be recognized as a Hall of Fame player or something to do with being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'd even say that
as a fan, you should not be inducted. That means all of us should be inducted into every friggin' sport that we pay attention to, all of their Hall of Fames, because we like those sports. We're the ones who are paying for these. We're paying some of these guys' salaries. We pay these tickets to go to these games. We buy the concessions. We're buying the jerseys. We're buying the video games. We're buying the hockey cards. We're doing this everything that all these kids and all we used to do as fans growing up. And you're going to tell me that this one guy who does tons for the city, I'm not judging or debating that, but the guy's never played a game in his life, and you're going to tell me this guy should be in the Hall of Fame? Get the fuck out of here. Huh?
It's
fucking break.
I don't know, but then you also take into account of like, well, is there any other occupation that is eligible to be in the Hall of Fame but coach and player?
Anything that has to do with the team and
the organization.
Yeah,
Drake's the ambassador of Toronto.
If Drake goes into the Hall of Fame, I'll be mad about that too.
Okay,
that's fucking stupid. That's stupid as hell.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dumb.
That's what I'm saying, like, at least, like, even in a sense,
well, I don't think
Drake is a part of the organization in a sense.
What's he in the Hall of Fame?
Being a super fan.
I think it's like community engagement or something. Fundraising.
Sure. Give him a plaque named Street after him in Toronto. You know, give him something like that. You need to be in the Hall of Fame for the sport.
And this was 4 years ago. This was in 2020, man.
Yeah, man.
And I don't...
he was officially honored by the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so he didn't get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he's in the Hall.
So he got a shout out.
Yeah.
Is that it?
He got a shout out.
Is that it?
The Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame announced that Badia would be one of the first fans memorialized.
Memorialized.
Why? Why does that even need to be a thing?
It's officially honored.
Why
So-
does that need to be a
so-
thing?
one of those throwaway things.
Okay.
Yeah, get out of here, man.
Then I want
Yeah.
one too. Give me a throwaway.
So-
give me a throwaway. I'm a
What-
fan.
What about the? No,
But his name is etched in stone for all of eternity,
but
man.
what about the dude that
Oh,
always
dude,
dances
for being a
during the
fan.
Minnesota games, and then he got banned from the arena for doing it, and then he came back during their playoffs and fucking ripped his shirt off. Is he gonna get a fucking?
You know?
Is he gonna get a shout out? And it's simply because this guy's rich, man. He bought his way
And
into
that's
it.
the thing. He bought his way in.
You know what? I get it. I'm
And,
not
they gave,
saying-
and did you know he got a championship ring? too?
Yes, that's the other thing. You got a championship ring out of it.
Yeah,
Don't
he
get
did
me wrong,
get a
I
championship
understand, I
ring.
understand
Players.
players.
They were like, hey, we're going to honor Drake. I'm pretty sure a lot more people were like, this dude just threw a bunch of money into his like
Yeah.
OVO logo up.
But, I mean,
You know, but they'd also say
like I said, if he
he
gets that
designed
200
jerseys,
companies,
he
I'll
designed
be
a core.
surprised by that.
like how much, you know what I mean? So like he still had his hand in the game type thing. He how much did he have in bringing Kawhi to Toronto? Like
You don't
that's
know
what
that.
we that's,
He didn't say he signed in LA. We traded for Kawhi.
oh I see what
Kawhi
you're
wanted out of San Antonio.
right.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes. Sorry. Yeah.
But you don't think Drake had some? Man, come to Toronto.
Well, yeah,
Check it out.
This year, this
Come
dude's
check it out.
worth whatever his contract is, like
Yeah.
$250 million or whatever. And he's trying to sign a max contract. Like, you're gonna pull out all the stops.
Mm.
You know, you're not just gonna be like, oh, you know what? I hope he signs. That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't.
Speaking of
The
Drake,
guy showed up. He's like, hey, look, I want to play this day, that day, this day, that day, and I want these days off. Can you guys accommodate it? And they're like, you'll have a choice. We want to sign you, and if you play this many games and we win this many games, maybe we'll win a championship. Essentially, put the team on his back and that was the championship.
So basically, I just got to be a philanthropist and just give some people some money, and
yeah,
Yeah,
I can get my name shouted. I
basically-
can get etched in stone.
Money
I can get all this
Yeah.
shit.
you
Cool,
need to
man, I'm
have
working on it.
10% of the fucking franchise value, and then you'll get shouted out.
Yeah, perfect.
Until then, yo,
Blue Devils?
go Raptors, baby.
Because like if I was to give some of these teams, any of these teams money, they don't need my money. Look at all the money that Edmonton brought
Blue
in
Devils.
this last season.
Well,
Yeah, sure, man.
it's a-
Can I get a plaque? Can I get a plaque with my name on it?
Yeah, I can
Saying
actually
due
plaque.
to funds given by Richard Lubin, we have met these goals. We want to thank him, and you can give me a plaque, and I'll shake some hands, just smile for the pictures. But yeah, that's great.
They do that
I'll
at
take
a
that.
hospital all the time, man. You spend a lot of money, they give you a bench.
Blue Devils. Yeah, I get a bench. I get a seat.
Since we're on the topic of basketball,
Yeah.
we played at work. A 3
Okay.
You don't talk
outside.
about that. Yeah, but go on.
Yeah.
Hot as F.
What, in the yard there?
Yeah, get you.
Yeah. How was that?
It
Can
was
they
fun,
play?
but, like after we,
That's hilarious. That's
no,
hilarious.
It was good. Fisher's team won a couple times.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good.
Yo, shout out Fisher, real baller. That guy actually, he's a huge LeBron fucking cocksucker.
Yeah.
But besides
LeBron's
that,
on his
he-
payroll.
Yeah, besides that, he's a good guy, man. But I think he'd actually blow LeBron. if he had
So
the
wait,
chance.
now is he gonna blow Bronny or is he gonna blow LeBron? Still?
No, man. I think
Why
he's
not
gonna.
both?
I think he's gonna shit on Bronny.
Good.
I think he's gonna shit on Bronny, but then he's gonna go because LeBron James is the goat. He's gonna just because he's the goat. You know, yeah, his offspring sucks.
Yeah, sometimes you know.
Did you see the meme?
Sometimes
Did
the
you-
apple falls
did
Oh,
off
I
the
just watched
tree.
the
man.
highlights here.
Did you see the meme where they said LeBron? They said they interviewed him. He's gonna said, "I gotta give him more Lacum."
Yeah.
I gotta pump him for more Lacum.
That's how he's gonna get better.
Going back to Drake, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are about Rick Ross getting jumped at that concert in Vancouver. Do you think that was a Drake hit?
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was a Drake hit.
Do you think it was just people riled
People
up?
riding with Drake, obviously, were in Canada and stuff.
Dude, I think it was gangs.
Probably.
I think it was like fucking biker gangs, man. The
At
guy,
the same time, it's like, yo,
that guy looked like
Rick Ross
a.
is from Florida, right?
Does he not have security? Where is his security?
No, his
Does he
security.
not-
Dude,
does he not
they-
roll with an entourage?
he does, and they beat the fuck out of his security.
How many people were involved in this attack?
It's like, why is
I think it was
Rick
like
Ross
4 or
getting
5.
involved in a beef with Drake and Kendrick Lamar?
Well, 'cause he already
California
wrote-
when you're from Florida.
No, but because he already had a diss track against Drake. So it was one of those things of like, I think he already staked his claim. And then it was one of those things where, because I already staked my claim and had what side I was on, what are people going to say if I don't play this song? They're going to say, because I'm scared because I'm in Vancouver, that I didn't play the song and I'm a fucking pussy. or I just play it and find out, and then he played it and he fucking found out. Pull up the video.
But at the same time, it's like, what is that going to do for you? Like, these people are nameless.
Save a face.
These people are nameless, though.
Who? Rick Ross?
No, the people who beat up Rick Ross.
Yeah, but I think they're nameless to like mainstream media, but I think to people that actually know.
So, I mean, normally people do it to get their name out there. They want to get their 5 minutes of fame. They want to be able to say, hey, man, I took down Rick Ross. No one knows who you are. Why'd you do it then? What's the point in doing it? What is the benefit of fighting Rick Ross and beating him up?
Because Drake told him to.
Rick Ross is a big name.
Because Drake said, hit him up. Hit him up. Tupac Biggie. And on a, like, why would you go perform in Canada if, like, you're really, I don't know. It's weird. I don't think rapper beefs are the best. I think rapper beefs are one of the dumbest things ever because it's so heavily like gang related, and then people are like,
not always. I don't think it's always gang related.
Or people like always preach that like we can't like we have to have more peace and this and that, and it's like, yeah, but then I hear your song and you're talking about fucking like shooting people and fucking hookers and strippers and having fucking ounces of dope and shit like that, where you're like, okay, well, like, how much are you actually practicing what you preach, and how much are you, like, you causing all this shit? Like, you don't want to get robbed? Well, don't go around downtown Los Angeles with $200,000 hanging off your neck, and maybe you won't get fucking robbed.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. I mean,
you know, like, it seems pretty common sense, but is this something like I'm trying to maintain an image? Or is it something like...
of course, they got to act so hard, you know?
Well, who was the guy that got killed in the Waffle House? In California, it was... He was like an underground... Not an underground rapper, but it was last year or 2 years ago. He got stabbed to death in a fucking... because he put on his social media that he was there. And people rolled up and they fucking stabbed him to death and took all of his chains. But they said he was wearing like $300,000 worth of shit.
Was it Paperboy?
Yeah. Sorry?
No, it wasn't Paperboy.
He was a rapper?
Yeah.
Hold on, got it right here. Let's see. Rapper shot
PNB
dead in
Rock.
LA.
PNB Rock.
Oh, did he have legs?
Yeah,
Has
so
been shot dead in an apparent robbery at a Los Angeles restaurant.
yeah. And you know how they found out? Because of his fucking Snapchat. So they were following. So check this.
Listening.
So check this out.
Yeah.
So this is the thing with the gangs. They're adding all of these rappers and shit on social media. They're rolling around with like a gang of like 5-6 people. They're waiting for you to post what venue, where you're eating at, what club you're at, and they just roll up and rob you. Because, like, this guy was with his wife or his girlfriend, and they just rolled up. They fucking stabbed him to death or shot him.
At a Roscoe's.
Yeah. And you say, like, man, you're really trying to, like, keep up an image by being heavy on social media and this and that, or, like, trying to play this character. But then you say, like, well, it's becoming extremely dangerous because people are fucking shameless about just rolling up and stealing your shit, and like, it's wild, man. It's a wild world. I would hate to be that famous where you would be nervous about posting your location on somewhere.
But I mean, that could be. It might not matter who you are anymore. You know, not everyone is gonna like you, and that's a fact.
Well, and there's probably people too where like there's guys that are like flaunting their cash that might not be famous. They might not be famous, but these guys that are robbing people, they know that these guys have a lot of cash. So they're waiting for them to show up at the yacht club or a certain club and then steal their shit because they know they know what's up. Is that the brawl?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All a bunch of white dudes. Biker gang. Pull it down, bud. Your breath stinks.
Well, how interesting is that?
So Rick Ross is there. He's in the brown there, and this guy throws the water. Yeah, and then boom, it's on. He's getting suckered. This big guy there So then his producer or whatever, you can see they have him on the ground, and they're just fucking hammering him.
Teach a man how to swallow.
Yeah, and then they just race Rick Ross up. And then when they asked him about it, he's like, I thought those guys were the bottle service dudes. I thought those guys were the bottle service dudes. That's funny, man. Fucking, this world's crazy. I don't think I ever want to go to California unless I got fucking armed security now.
Oh. I have some friends that took their family to Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's how much it cost them. 3 kids.
Oh,
$8 grand.
Let's see.
Six-
Just for like the park
Just for the park passes we're talking about?
What, 3,500?
It's easily, how many, sorry, 2 adults and 3 kids?
What a grand.
Yeah, it's you're looking at maybe 13, almost $1,500
For just the tickets.
That's park
It's
pass.
just the tickets to get in the park or around the rides.
That's crazy.
Mad.
Well, and then you look at during the event last night, one of the chicks that we work with, she said that she took her kids to the fair, and they kept wanting to go to the games, and she's like, "Motherfucker, I bought you an all-day pass. You better go hit them rides." Like,
Yeah.
and on top of that, knowing that every circus game is rigged,
Yeah.
like. Apparently, that one where you got to hang on the bar, they say that the bar rotates. So the one, can you get off of me, you motherfucker? They say that a lot of the times when you go on it, the bar rolls. So that's how they cheat you out of it. Or like the basketball one, the rims are bent. So like you'll never hit a good shot, or like everything's smaller than it should be, or whatever it is. Interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. What else do we got?
You guys talked briefly about the Euro.
Yeah, pull that up. I watched the Canada game yesterday.
It's not the
Schaffenberg.
same, it's not the same. That's the Copa America.
Oh, so you have Copa and then you have Euros. So
Yeah,
how
so
are we
you-
doing in Euros? What's
Well, Canada's not in the Euro. 'Cause
No, no,
it's
yeah.
the Euro Cup.
right, European Cup. No, but I'm asking, when is Portugal going against France? Did they already do that?
Portugal lost in penalty kicks.
Portugal lost.
So Spain is playing France in the semifinals tomorrow,
Shit.
and then England is playing Netherlands
Not
in
bad.
the other semifinal.
Marcus Duplay.
So
I think that's his
then-
name.
Yeah.
And then
And then the Copa.
That's the last 2 teams that are in it.
So those are the
Last
last 4
four.
teams. So whoever wins those goes to the finals, and then after that you have the 3rd place game. After that, then we have the Copa America right now. Canada just beat Venezuela.
yeah, 4-3 in pens.
Penalty kicks. So then we'll be playing Argentina. What is that?
That's tomorrow.
And then in the other team, Brazil just lost. And they lost to. Was it the Swiss?
Well, they didn't lose.
They lost on penalty kicks.
It's a draw.
They lost on penalty kicks.
Yeah, so they will mark it as a draw, and then they'll say who won out.
And then they say who won in penalty kicks. It's
Yeah.
normally how a soccer game goes.
Yeah,
So if you're tied in full time and extra time,
Yeah.
it goes down to
Colombia.
PK. So Colombia beat Brazil. So Colombia will be playing. Sorry, who did I say?
What I always found interesting too was when they do like the Champions League legs, they have like the aggregate, and it's so weird. Like if I dust a team the first game 4-1,
4-2 or 4-1. Yeah.
4-1, and then they come back and beat
Well, you're
me,
up +3 at that point.
right? But if they come back and score 4 goals on me, like my whole game that I had before is negated,
No.
right?
So it's all about like goals for and goals against.
Yeah, so like it's between the 2 games, it's a combination of both games and their goals. So it's like,
You
say a player gets a red card or gets injured in the first game or whatever it is, it's like the amount of uphill battle that you have in the second one. Even if you're up 1 or 2 goals, it's like this could easily be a huge turnaround.
Yeah.
So I found that very, very interesting because I don't think you see that in any other sport in terms of like that aggregate and you don't really see it in certain cups too. Like,
It seems like the NBA is trying to do that with like their in-season tournament.
yeah,
So like baskets points against are gonna count.
dude, the amount of times they got to go on ESPN and explain the format of that tournament. Like
I
it's
like
like
it because then it's like, players are actually fucking play rather than trying to sing.
well, and the thing is too, at least you're trying something, right? Like at least you're trying something new. You're not sticking with like the old format and you're just running with it and like having the definition of insanity. But at the same time, they got to fix All-Star Weekend. That's a huge, yeah. Like they gotta figure out what's going on with All-Star Weekend because like it's just redundant. Like there's nothing more you can do with a dunk contest. There's nothing more you can do. Like you have like Sabrina Ionescu coming out, dusting people in 3-point contest male division. Shout out to Caitlin Clark, first woman in WNBA history to record a triple-double.
What?
Yeah. She just recorded
She's the first person to get
first woman in WNBA history to record a triple-double. Caitlin Clark.
Yo, you said shortest person.
No, I said first
He said
women.
first person, first female.
There's no females
In the WNBA that recorded a triple-double. Run it, Jamie.
Yeah, she's not the first person.
Maybe she's
Well,
the
this is
first.
Thomas 10.
Sorry, maybe she's the first rookie.
Yeah,
First
probably,
first rookie. Sorry, I fucked that up.
Yeah, Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark
Yeah.
makes WNBA history.
First rookie to record a triple-double. I apologize.
Good for her.
Well, and like, dude, people hate the shit out of her.
Which is, you know what, this has been a topic on a lot of sports casting shows, podcasts as well. It's straight up, man. Women are catty as fuck, and this is a lot of jealousy. 100% is what it is.
Well, and the thing is, she's just gonna have to like show her words through her play.
And
she's gonna have
she's
to
handling it very
yeah.
well. She's handling a lot of the negativity and a lot of the chirping.
Dude.
A lot of the physicality of the game, and I think she's handling herself very well.
Dude, they came out criticizing her for running around on a pool, running from a pool to a fucking hot tub. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, what? Like, how far have we come to like stretching things where it's like you just want to hate this chick so bad,
So much.
Like it's insanity, and like
they said it, like she's bringing a lot of positivity and a lot of attention to the game. I mean, to be fair, I've never looked at WNBA stats this much in my life.
Yeah.
Since she's come into the league, since all this hype has been.
I like watching her press conferences, man.
Yeah, man. It's changed.
Hey, they got fucking they have chartered flights now.
This is
Like it's a
this
huge
is great.
benefit.
It's great for them and it's great for the sport. And I mean, but this is what you want. You want those players who are going to come in, these rookies, these top-notch players who are going to make a difference, who are going to be the faces of the game, and are gonna put butts in seats. You know, this is what you want.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, don't get me wrong. That yes, it causes that rivalry or that push that you want between rival teams, where it's like we're playing Caitlin Clark this week. We got to play our best. She's nothing. We're gonna trash talk her, this, that, and the other. It brings a lot of spotlight to the game, but at the same time, there's so much like no one's really.
Dude,
the opponents aren't really they respect her, but they don't.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
This is what the WNBA needs: is this story arc. They need people to come in with personalities. They need to have these rivalries. They need
NBA.
right.
Absolutely.
So then you
Drama.
look, you look and you say like she's coming in, she's establishing herself as the heel, and now it's like, well, people are turning in to her post, like her press conferences. But now, how much are people that are fans of Caitlin Clark starting to research her haters? And now they're watching her haters games, you know, and they're saying,
Something.
right? But it's just one of those things where it's like people are mad that she's like outperforming everybody, but it's like this is going to be the difference in you having to play in the WNBA and a European league in 1 year.
True.
You're eventually going to just be able to rely on your WNBA
But
salary.
it's exactly. This is something that we talked about earlier when we were talking about the Oilers in the playoffs and like McDavid and playing with a guy like this. It pushes you to play better, as if you're going to be their teammate as one. If you're going to be playing against them, it's like, oh, we're playing against Caitlin Clark this week. We got to step our game up. We got to learn how she plays. We got to get in their face. We don't want to lose. Now that she's on a very successful team right now, but it's like they still need to be able to play her. Like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen. You know what I mean? And I think at the same time, it's great for, like you said, it's great for the sport. But it forces you to be if I'm playing on another team, I got to be. I need my moment, or I don't need my moment. But it's like I know I'm going to be playing her. What am I going to do if I want to be out there? I'm like, you know, you don't want to be on the bench, so you gotta bring someone to the court. You gotta be able to play the game, and you gotta be able to prove yourself to the league and to her. To say, hey, you might be here, but I'm here too.
Yeah.
You got to get through me in order to get these points.
It's the same thing when like a rookie goes up and like regarding Kawhi. And it's like, all right, it's make it or break it, man. Like this guy might put me on a couple highlight reels, and that's it, right? Like that's it for me.
Yeah, you just think of the viewership.
I remember
we're moving arenas. Parks in this game.
Right.
So now we have to step our game up.
And like, and you say, this is exactly what the sport needs. This is exactly what like the type of female representation. And it's just a shame that some people don't see it that way, or they're trying to clickbait their way out of it. Instead of being like, you don't like her, it's because you can't play as good as her.
Yeah.
Like that, like you don't like her because you're getting fucking destroyed,
or you're jealous of all
and
the
you're
attention
shooting
that
0 from 9 from 3, and you're the team's 3-point shooter, and you can't hit a 3 all game. Well, fucking start hitting threes, like
absolutely,
you know. So it's really cool in that sense because like people shit on WNBA a lot. I've watched all of 3 WNBA games, and they've not been fun to watch. But
now it's something, you know, you're paying attention.
Yeah, and honestly,
and I think that's mission accomplished.
I've watched more Caitlin Clark press interviews than I've watched minutes of WNBA. But it's like, hey, I'm watching something. I'm tuning in.
I think social media has a hand in that.
Yeah, she went viral.
I don't watch a lot of games.
But you watch a lot of clips.
I watch a lot of clips.
Right. And that's probably a huge benefit that the like leagues like that didn't have like 10 years ago or whenever the WNBA was established, where I don't think you had the TikToks or you had the Instagrams and stuff, but you didn't have like the level of this short form content that's being put out, right? So I think short form, across all of like public facing, where you look at like artists in music, you look at athletes, you look at like people that make art, like all of these things where it's like it's very easy to develop that short form content to get them into the longer form, where would they have the same type of success if that wasn't possible? And like where people's heads are at right now in terms of the attention span, like is this going to be where it stays at? Is this going to be where WNBA stays at? Is like it's more of a clickbait viral thing. People really aren't going to start to, because you still say like, is the level of competitiveness, is the level of skill really there if they're not playing against Caitlin Clark?
I think.
Like, is it still a dog shit league?
I think it will get better, but this year you got the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like right now,
Summers.
Yeah, they didn't select her for the team, eh?
No.
No. Which
we
is
talked about that before as well.
Yeah, that's wild.
But it's like there's nothing going on in the sports except for
WNBA.
You got
Euro, Copa America.
Yeah, baseball.
You got the Olympics coming up.
Coming up in a couple of weeks.
If the Olympics aren't here, the Euro Cup's not.
What is there?
WNBA and baseball are like sports.
Yeah.
What is like the months? What are like the months of like sports drought? Like, is there any specific? Like here, like July, August.
After the baseball All-Star game, for a while, there was no sports for 3 days. That was the longest.
Was it 3 days?
3 days.
That's crazy. Yeah, those people.
There's nothing.
Those people that make their money off sports.
Yeah,
those people that make their money off sports bets are just shitting their pants, spending their tickets on Moscow table tennis.
But now this is like there's sports that are filling these gaps and everything like that. But going back to All-Star games and things like that, I wish that more All-Star games. And you were saying that you have to revamp the NBA All-Star game. I just wish that more sports made the All-Star game significant, kind of the way baseball does. Baseball is the only sport that makes their All-Star game matter. If the American League wins, then the American League team that's in the World Series gets home field advantage. So I think that with that being said, I think more All-Star games should adopt something like that where it's like, yeah, sure, the game is still fun. We're still having a good time.
But there has to be a payout.
There's got to be something.
There has to be some kind of payoff because
Yeah.
how are you gonna motivate guys that are making that amount of money to actually come and perform? Like,
But it's not even that. I just think that underlying, because like the All-Star break for all these sports is always like a break,
it's a vacation.
and it's a vacation, and it's to have fun, and it's for the fans, and it's for all that. I just wish that there was something a little bit more incentive that goes back to the players that are playing in this game. It's like, yeah, sure, you're all here representing your teams in this All-Star game, but I still think that the All-Star game should matter in a little respect, in some way, shape, or form, for every sport. If they could, that'd be great. That's my only 2 cents to offer revamping All-Star games. I think it makes it more exciting in the end. It's still, you're still playing for something.
I think Adam Silver looks like Gru.
Sorry, who?
I think Adam Silver looks like Gru.
Okay.
Off the Minions? Off Despicable Me?
Needs to be more top heavy.
Adam who?
So
Adam Silver, he's the commissioner of the NBA.
Yeah, big time.
He needs a bigger like chest.
Yes.
I thought he looked more like what was the dude that could go out and be like in Logan
Calvin, yeah.
Calvin.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a pasty.
Yeah.
Slender, bald headed.
Check his salary. See what he makes for salary. Adam Silver.
Silver?
I think it's like what?
Oh, shit.
Fucking a few hundred. I don't know.
Regardless, the power that man wields. And he's smart as hell.
Any
Annual
commissioner.
salary, 10 mil.
Bro,
That's not bad.
that's not bad at all. Salary of the CEO of Boeing that's getting investigated for fraud, $36.4 million a year. 45% increase from yesterday. That's
$10
from
million.
last year.
On vacation. I'm afraid to get on a plane right now.
Bro, Boeing's
Boeing's dropping off.
man. Yeah,
All their people getting assassinated and shit for whistleblowing.
yeah. And then like
It's a tough
the
year for Boeing.
CEOs and shit are getting pinched for like fraud and falsifying inspection reports, and it's it's crazy. Better start building your own planes, boys.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. 'Cause I'm
Yeah. Better
Paper
fly.
airplanes.
Yeah, paper airplanes, get flying. Now I think eventually we'll have jetpacks.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
What do you
Teleport me.
dude? Do you think we're gonna have like port keys like in Harry Potter, where you have like flu powder?
I want to teleport.
You know what I mean? You fucking find a fire, you, and then all of a sudden you're in Dagon Alley.
No, I don't think that'll
You
be
don't
a
think
thing.
that's gonna happen?
No, that's his theory of teleporting. That's the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, but mine needs some dust. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do know
Thank
what
you.
you're saying.
Thank
yeah,
you.
100%.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What do you think the new mode of transportation is going to be? Because you know it ain't electric cars. That's already failing. Apparently, they're trying to. They tried to put this thing in Chicago. Look it up for me, Jamie. They tried to make all the semi trucks in Chicago electric, but they said the amount that it would take was like 3 times more than Chicago's power grid. And they did a petition to have all of these semi trucks turned into electric, and they basically said that each battery was going to be like something wild.
Well, the prices for the batteries is the main thing, right? So it's like, I know my parents' friend, he has an electric car, and when you have to get the battery replaced, it's like 10 grand. You get the battery replaced, which
That's
is like,
crazy.
that's insane. You know, it's like, that's the only thing. So he's saying, actually, which I think might be possible, is hybrid cars.
Yeah,
I think might be more sustainable for the time being.
right.
But electric, no, because I mean, at the same time, too, it's like, you can't do treks if you have an electric vehicle. I mean, you could pull over somewhere to charge up, but then how long you got to wait for your vehicle to charge?
Well, and they say a lot of times these apps that locate the charging stations and plan your trip, they don't tell you whether or not the charging station's paid. They don't tell you whether it's out of service. So sometimes you go and
Your SOL.
or you're 17 cars behind. So now your trip has been extended by 3-4 hours
Yep.
because you can't
Well, that's the other thing, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I understand that these electric cars is the way of the future, but it's just way too early. Like, there's so many kinks that still need to be figured out.
Well, we have people at work that drive Teslas, 2 or 3, and I asked them, and I go, "Do you feel kind of like, just feel like gay? Just feel kind of gay? Like you hopped on the trend a little too early?" It's like when the Apple Vision Pro came out and said, I said to people, "Well, you're going to be the idiot and buying the first gen." Because they're just going to get, like, why would you hop on the bandwagon so fast when this is... Well, this is going to be the shittiest
anything. You say about anything whatsoever. It's like when any new product comes out, it's going to fail off the hop of it. There's kinks that always need to be figured out. Look at all the phones we get. Look at all the phones.
I say it's bandwagonish.
I think
I'm helping with the environment.
Aspect to it, like, I'm helping save the earth and shit.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing as well. Yeah.
I'm helping the environment. It's like, bro, you're in a parking lot of fucking 200 gas cars.
It's like, now we got this carbon tax or bag, whatever they're charging for bags at McDonald's. But we have a population of the south of us, over 100 million people, and like, what? There's all they're doing is littering and providing nothing but emissions to the solar system.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, like your effect on
it's a slippery slope, man.
Well, and the thing is, you say, like, it only takes one person to change the world, right? So you say, like, is it one of these things where it's like, you're just a bandwagoner doing something and it's not really going to make a change? Or you're actually starting the momentum of people following suit, right? So it's this big, like, well, you can stay within the lane of nobody doing it, or you can start to become like the initiator, and then you can kind of champion the fact that you're driving an electric vehicle and shit like that. But then you also say too of like, people don't recognize or take into account of the amount of, I don't want to say like free data or whatever, but like people don't understand how much that data is being used to like, so say if I'm in the States, I can buy a Tesla and I can get it insured with Tesla. But every month or every week, they can change my premiums, right? So they can basically change it off how fast I'm braking, how sharp I'm taking turns, how many times that I've accelerated too fast. Yep. And then they create like a grading system.
For your insurance. So it's,
for your insurance. Yeah. So then every month, my insurance is right based on how much of a fucking road rager or whatever it is, right? So then you say like, well, if I'm driving a Honda CRV, I don't have that problem, and I'm getting insured with whoever the fuck it is. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know. Maybe we table some of this electric car shit for next episode. That's an episode.
That's going to be an episode?
No, I doubt it. If I buy a Tesla, that'll be an episode.
Let's talk about all the electric cars. I can't wait. Electric motorcycles, too, is going to be sick.
I will say that electric Harley Davidson motorcycle that Black Widow drives.
Yeah. I don't like that in the Dodge Chargers or like the electric Corvettes. They have like speakers that make it sound like the gas vehicles.
My car does
that. Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of fun. Yeah, it's like, we want you to feel like you're in this like muscle car or whatever. But like when people are in Teslas, like apparently Tesla has one of the fastest like 0 to 60 fucking things going, right? So it's interesting, but anything you kind of want to wrap this episode up with? I'm sweating my fucking balls off. I got to get out of this room.
It's hot today.
Anything you want to wrap up with? What do you think? Next episode, what do you think is gonna?
We got a lot coming down the pipe right now. There's a lot of things.
We have a lot of guests. We have a lot of shit going on for the solo spotlight stuff.
You got a lot of guests coming up.
We have a lot of shit. If you see my board,
no one knows that it means or can read that.
No one knows what it means.
But to Ryan, it means a lot.
This is like my Bible right now. We got a lot of shit going on. We're very excited to see what's coming up. We're going to be trying a couple different venues. Hopefully we can leverage some of our guests to use their venues and, try to be a little shameless with our marketing strategies. With
Just
that,
stay tuned. We got a lot of things coming up shortly in the next little bit. A lot of things that we are excited for. So please just stay tuned, like, and
subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to the Conversationalists.
I'm going to close out by saying rule number 77, carry extra protection. Whatever that means to you, just be ready. Be like a Boy Scout. Always be prepared. Carry extra protection.
No guns.
I didn't say that, but...
Finger guns.